How do we know that our spirit guides are truly with us? This is a great question. Now, remember, we're working with something unseen, intangible, so faith is a huge part of this work. But there are practices and things that you can do to start to cultivate a relationship with your spirit guides so that you can build that trust and reciprocity with them. So I always encourage people to, number one, cultivate that connection and that relationship in your own time and don't rush it. Your spirit guides are going to project to you in whatever way is going to make the most sense for you to understand who they are, how they're showing up in your life and your experience. So many people will get hung up on things like a name, physical characteristics. It's always what's going on up here, what am I seeing? When really what we should be focusing on is clairsentience or feeling, clear feeling. I look at clairsentience as the foundation of your entire language with the spirit world. Clairsentience is what gives you context, it's what gives you emotion, it's what gives you feeling and understanding of your experiences with the spirit world. So cultivate a good sense of clairsentience within yourself. Get really, really, really good at noticing the subtle shifts and changes within your emotional body, as well as your physical body when it comes to this work. If you develop that, ultimately that's going to help you by far and away. So if we're going to rely on the feeling, we have to get to know what our energy feels like first, and before we can fully be able to perceive and understand what the energy of an outside stimulus feels like, aka a guide or a loved one. And this is going to be best done through feeling. So what I often encourage people to do is to do practices to cultivate ways in which you can get a sense of your guides rather than maybe a mental picture or an image or anything like that. Work with your sensing. Sensing is going to be the key, because very often pictures and projections of the mind only give us so much information, but it's through feeling that we cultivate a sense of connectivity with the spirit realm and with our spirit guides. So there are certain types of practices you can do to get to feel the energetic signature of your guides. I also encourage my clients to do this with their loved ones as well, right? So basically focusing on what you feel when you set the intention to have your guides or any spirit energy draw close. What changes do you notice in your environment, in your body? What experiences come up, no matter how subtle they are, starting to learn to understand and differentiate those shifts that are taking place when outside stimuli is moving in and becoming present, aka your guides. And through repeated practice and through repeated experience and that sort of pattern, if you will, where things ultimately come through, trust is gained. And that is how you know that your guides are there. We as humans like to get hung up on things like names, physical characteristics, descriptions, but the truth is all of that is really going to be their way of just projecting to you a way in which you can humanly understand and connect with them. But really, rather, I would say focus on the feeling over what you see and those other projections. Ultimately, that's the most important part. If you want to know more about spirit guides, I do have a spirit guide bundle that is available. It's like on my website and it's a little ebook. It has some practices you can do to cultivate a relationship with your spirit guides. It kind of goes over and demystifies sort of the role of the guide and spirit guides. So if that's something you're into, make sure that you check that out and stay tuned, because I will have an entire workshop coming up specifically geared towards working with your guides and cultivating a relationship with your guides. So I hope that this helps.